What is going on, everybody? You are back on another edition of Ballin over beers. I am Justin Dueppengiesser. This is the NFL show. I am joined, as always, by my guy, James Fitch. James, what's up, dude?
Not too much, man. Ready to dig into some betting props for the season.
You're looking all classy with that sweet polo on, just ready to hit the links, or I don't know what. I love it.
I would prefer to be on a golf course right now. No offense to you, but
What if I was with you?
I'd rather be on a golf course with you.
Yes,
Yeah.
that would be ideal. If it would ever stop raining around here, we could actually get out and golf maybe a little bit.
Yeah, how's that art coming along?
Dude, I'm building away at it, just ready for the flood. Just
We're
unbelievable.
we're gonna get like a really hot, dry fall. We're not gonna have a fall. It's gonna basically be summer.
Yeah, probably. The only thing that I hope is that it just means that there's going to be like no snow for winter.
Might be ideal.
Yeah, just all the precipitation is coming out now, and it's just going to stop eventually.
I was talking weather.
Yeah, and there's your there's your weather for the day. Been checking out any of the Olympics at all?
Late at night, after we put our son down, we'll sit down and we've seen some of the swimming. Haven't seen a lot though.
Yeah, the swimming is always one of my favorite events to watch. Actually, did you see the like 17-year-old girl that won the gold for the United States from Alaska?
Yeah, I did. I think I watched a clip that you retweeted, and the announcer was said something about like not like a hotbed for swimming or so, like Alaska's not known for
Yeah.
producing swimmers.
Dude, they were saying something like there's only one 50-meter swimming pool in the entire state, and she somehow got gold. I just pretty sick, pretty sweet to see. It was pretty. That's the stuff that makes the Olympics cool for me.
Yeah, there's a lot of those cool moments, especially within swimming. Sorry, I look like Sasquatch right now.
Oh my gosh, just only blurry shots.
I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the swimming's probably the best summer event. I mean, I like the racing too.
Yeah. Getting to see fast people run fast is always impressive to me.
Yeah. I love like just like a lot of times the finishes are close. It's very climactic and exciting.
Yep, no doubt. No, that's been pretty cool, but we're not here to talk Olympics. We're here to talk football, and today we're going to do a little bit of a AFC East, AFC West kind of preview type thing. Well, we're going to go through some of the numbers that are out there for these divisions and talk through our way of what we like. But before we go any further, just appreciate everybody being here. Make sure if you're watching this on YouTube, you're smashing that like button and you're subscribing. It goes a long way for us, and we really appreciate it. So let's jump into the AFC East first and talk about some of these numbers. So right now, the Bills are plus 500 to be the conference champion. So for the entire AFC conference champion, plus 500. Patriots, Dolphins, plus 1,600. Jets, plus 7,500. Looking at these numbers, do you think that any of them are worth a bet?
No, I don't think so. I don't know how you can bet against Kansas City to take that down. If anything, the Bills at plus 500 is the best option there, but I can't see myself taking that.
Yeah, I'm right. I'm right there with you. The conference, I don't think that any of these teams really have a chance at. And did you see that Zach Wilson still doesn't have his contract done and isn't reporting to camp yet?
No, I did not see that.
In this day and age, like with the way that rookie contracts are, like how do you just not like hammer that out and get it done? Like I guess apparently there's a big hang up on like wordage and all these different incentives and stuff like that. That just blows my mind.
Are they trying to figure out when he's taking his mission?
Does he still have to do that? Or is that done?
I don't know. I mean, I thought I feel like that's why Taysom Hill is. I mean, he's a lot older, and he joined the league later. I think because of that. I mean, I would think that would have been factored into their decision in drafting him, but I don't know. Maybe it's like those two golfers where he has to like do something in order to get out of it.
South Koreans, so
Yeah,
Kim and Sung JM, they have
yeah.
to medal, or they have to do their mandatory military service.
He has to win a playoff game, otherwise he has to go.
He's got to go on missions for.
He's got 3 seasons.
Oh boy, that would be tough. Tough being a Jet. Tough being a Jet.
That's crazy that they don't have that locked up.
No, it is. It is nuts to me that they don't. But no, so I'm out. I'm out on all those numbers as well. As far as division winner, the Bills are obviously the big favorite here. They are minus 150. The Dolphins coming in with the next best odds at plus 310. The Patriots at plus 350, and the Jets at plus 2,500. Those 4 numbers right there, any of those tickle your fancy?
Not really. If I was gonna pick one of those, the best value is on. I think I like Miami better than New England. I don't think New England has a quarterback still. So I'm not very high on them this year. I think you're a bit higher on them than I am. But I think Miami poses the biggest threat to Buffalo. I like Buffalo to win the division. I don't want to lay minus 150.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I do think the Bills make the most sense, but like you said, the minus 150 number is just not very enticing to me. I do like the plus 350. If I was going to bet this, I would probably take my stab there with the Patriots. To me, it's crazy when you look at the roster that they had last year, which, I mean, on paper might have been one of the worst rosters I've ever seen on an NFL franchise. Like, they were void of talent in so many spots. And, they had so many opt-outs and so many injuries, and they still found a way to win as many games as they did. I think it was like 7, and they were like 8th in points per game in defense still, with, Dante Hightower opting out, Patrick Chung opting out, all this stuff. So they're getting everybody back and healthy. Plus they've made some, free agent signings. Bill Belichick, I don't think, this past season sat very well with him. I think that, he's still obviously a phenomenal coach. And if they can get any type of production out of the offense, I think they're going to be right there in games. They're going to win close games. The question is, like you were kind of just mentioning there, though, who is the quarterback? Is it Mac Jones? Is it Cam Newton? I think either way, you're going to see a run-heavy offense. Damian Harris is actually a pretty interesting option at running back, like as a deep sleeper to me. So I would do the plus 350 if I had to choose one of these numbers.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I like Miami's roster a bit better. I think there's questions at quarterback there too, and just kind of what kind of season is he going to have. But I like that offense much better. I think it's more established. So I would take, for a little bit less money, or I guess plus money, I like Miami a bit more. And I don't have much faith in the Jets. I think the Jets will be better. I think it's hard to be any worse than they were last year, although they got hot at the end. But I don't even think they're worth talking about, really.
No, I'm right there with you. I think they're still going to be they're still a ways away from where they need to be competitive. Let me ask you this question: do you think that there's any chance that Deshaun Watson gets traded to the Dolphins?
No.
Are you as shocked as I am that he reported to camp?
No.
That's simple. Moving on. No, that, like, to me, there's a lot of things at play here. One, like, we kind of didn't hear anything. Like, it kind of just like the news stopped on him, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, by the way, Deshaun Watson is reporting to camp today, so he doesn't get fined. Marshawn Lynch, I'm only here so I don't get fined.
Yeah, we've seen this precedent in the NFL of, like, if something happens, the repercussions hit way down the road. So, he hasn't been charged with anything. We know the NFL likes to kind of collect the facts before, throwing down the hammer. And I don't think he wants to get fined all of that money. I still think he's expecting to get traded. We've talked about this a few times, where trading a quarterback of this caliber is just not an easy thing to do. The return's got to be there, and I don't know that you're going to get it. So I still think week 1 he'll be the quarterback for the Texans.
The only way that I could, or I guess the only reason I could see it possibly happening is because right now you have an unhappy Xavier Howard on the Dolphins. So it could be something where if you include him in some draft picks and possibly Tua, and you send them to the Texans who are in full rebuild mode, now you have a number one corner. You have potentially a quarterback and draft picks coming back to you, which then it makes it a little bit more enticing. But I'm with you. It is just so hard to move a player of his caliber, and I think the Texans said they still want multiple first round picks for him.
Do you think Tua's of value to them, or do you think they'd rather tank this year and have the pick of their own guy?
That's the question, right? Like you'd have to be all in kind of on Tua if you're the Texans, because if you're getting him, you're probably not thinking, okay, well, if we have this high draft pick next year, we're not going to have a quarterback then if we just traded for one.
Yeah.
So then that maybe that does make it more difficult.
I think from where I sit, that's kind of the logic I take is it's obviously a risky move. And I think there's even risk with keeping Watson too, but trading for Tua, there's risk. He may not amount to much of anything. He may have injury concerns. Why not just eat this season and, have the pick of our own guy that we can fully evaluate, we can clear medically, we can, have our scouts look at and just feel good about.
Dolphins have two first round picks next year.
I think so. Yeah.
So, I mean, even if Tua doesn't work out, like they could potentially use that to trade up to get the number one pick too, if they wanted to go quarterback,
Yeah.
So I think the Dolphins are in a good situation, honestly. Like, it's tough with the Xavier Howard thing that he's unhappy and kind of what are you going to do there? But I mean, maybe they trade him to the Cardinals straight up. You go for Chandler Jones. Now you have an edge rusher for a corner, and you get two unhappy guys switching spots. Who knows?
Yeah.
But all right, let's talk win totals for the AFC East. Again, with the Buffalo Bills, they lead the way. Their win total number is 11 wins. The over and the under are both minus 110 for that. Do you have a lean on which side you would be, the over, the under on those 11 wins?
I lean the over. I could see them being a 12-5 team. I could see it being a push. They have a pretty tough schedule this year, and I know everyone kind of talks about that. Beginning of the year, schedules always look worse than they are, vice versa. But I think they've added some playoff teams from last year. But I liked them to sit right around the 11, 12. I think I'd like to see them right around 12-5, something like that.
Yeah, I'm going to say push. They're going to go 11-4-1. No, I'm just kidding. We'll go with the old 0-0 bet on roulette, right? No, it's still weird to hear the 17 game prediction too.
Yeah.
I guess if I had to choose one, I'd lean more towards the 12 wins than I would the 10 wins. Just because I do think they're a playoff team, and 10 wins would make it difficult. They'd still probably be in, because I still think that they could get a division win with 10 wins, but it would make it a more difficult way for them to get into the playoffs with 10 wins. And I still think that they do. They still get 2 games against the Jets that should be wins. So you're basically starting off in +2 territory already. So I would take the over as well. Will I bet it and actually take the ticket to the window? No way. I wouldn't touch that as an actual bet. Next you have the Patriots, and their over under for wins is 9.5, with the over being +110 and the under being -130. If you're like me and kind of just laid out a potential where you think that they might be able to win the division, you're getting plus money, to get them over the 9.5 wins with the +110. What are you thinking as far as that's concerned?
I'm under, and I think it's just going to be under. I could see them finishing 9-8 again. I think quarterback is the concern there. So I would go under.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Again, it's just the NFL now is so quarterback driven, and without exactly knowing who's going to be the starter and all that, it's really tough to make a decision on them. Did you see that there was a press conference with Belichick today, and they were asking him who's going to be the starter or whatever. The guy asked him, and he goes, "Well, yeah, it's a clean slate. Everybody, has to prove their worth." And he just gave a total Belichick answer and avoided it, and basically didn't give anything up. So I don't think that we're going to know who the starter is until week 1 of the regular season.
I don't think he's super thrilled about the thought of having to start Cam again.
Yeah.
I think they're open to giving him the opportunity if he earns it. But I also don't know that Mac Jones is going to be ready. It's very possible that Cam starts the season, he either sucks or he gets hurt again, and Mac Jones is thrown into play earlier than they probably want. But
yeah, and I think that's kind of the thing too. Like, I don't think Belichick, with the two quarterbacks that are there, he's gonna tolerate too much losing. It's gonna be a short leash for either of the guys, whoever's in there.
Yeah.
The Miami Dolphins also are at 9.5 wins. The over for them is also plus money at plus 105, and the under is minus 120. What are you thinking?
I think they're a 10 or an 11 win team, so I'm going to give them the over just barely.
Is this a bet that you would actually take to the ticket or take to the window and bet?
It's close. I would look at other divisions and see where lines sit for them to see if there are other ones I like better. But I think I could talk myself into this one.
I think so too. And I'm looking at it as if from the standpoint is, okay, if there's 7 playoff teams and you think that they're potentially a playoff team, that means they're probably going to win 10 games, right?
Yeah.
Especially with the seven, set the extra game, the 17 game schedule. So I think, to me, this is actually could be a potential bet. If you think they're a playoff team, that 9.5 number at plus money doesn't sound like a very bad bet to me.
No.
And then, of course, rounding out the division, you have the New York Jumbo Jets with an over-under of 6 wins, the over being plus 100, and the under being minus 120. I am almost to the point where I think that they could be so bad that the under at minus 120 is bettable, actually bettable.
This was tough for me. They ended up finishing with 2 or 3 wins last year.
Yeah.
I think they've got to be a much better team. I could still see the under. I wouldn't hate betting the under, but honestly, they should put lines out for just like nailing it, like you said, like the old like 0-0. To hit 6 on the dot. I'd put money down on that. I could see them finishing like 6-11, something like that.
I guess the thing that you have to look at too is they don't have Greg Williams there calling, press man defense and Hail Mary situations where the corner is going to let the receiver run by him for last second touchdowns for absolutely no reason at all, like they did last year. So that's got to count for at least 1 win. So it's hard. I mean, the thing is though, you look at every year going into the year, all these win totals are, 5, 6, somewhere in there. And there's always 2 or 3 teams that end up winning 2 or 3 games, and that's it. So to me, it seems likely that the Jets could be one of them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hate this. Let's talk some player props, and I put a couple down here that I thought were kind of interesting. We'll start with Josh Allen. So Josh Allen obviously coming off of an incredible year. I want to start with the passing yards because I looked the other week, maybe two or 3 weeks ago, and his number has already increased. So he was at 4,500 yards even, and now, and actually the under for 4,500 yards was plus money. He's now at 4,550 and a half, and the over under are both minus 115. So the passing yards has increased, in the odds for betting the under has gotten worse. So I don't know why that might be. Maybe people are, saw the number or hammering it, but where do you stand kind of on the passing yards for Allen? Or do you see regression coming? Do you see an increase? Obviously the extra game is going to inflate, everybody's numbers a little bit. So, you got to take that into consideration.
Yeah, I take that into consideration. So he finished with 4,544 yards last season. So he was right at this number. I do expect the passing volume to, I'd say, continue. I don't know if it'll be as much as it was last year, but Dable, I think that's just kind of the offense he's going to run again. So I see a path for him to hit the over. If I'm not going to bet either of these numbers, but if I'm making a lean, I would take the over. I could see that extra game just benefiting that stat.
So I ran the projections for it, and my projections are having him come in just under at a little over 4,300 yards. That's still pretty high. That's on 570 passing attempts, completing almost 380 of them. So I have him just shy of that number. So I guess I would take the under if I'm looking off of my projections on that. The touchdown mark for him is 34 and a half, and that over under is at minus 115. And, again, just looking at my projections, and I have that right around there with 33 and a half passing touchdowns being his number. So I'm right there, kind of at that over under mark. Do you have a lean either way?
I would take the over. He had 37 last year again, the extra game. The volume that I predict in the offense or expect in the offense, I would take the over. I don't think it's going to be a situation where he's going to end up smashing that, but I do like the over.
Yeah, it sounds like kind of from the quotes that the few that we've heard from that office, it doesn't sound like they have any intentions of trying to even run the ball more, right? They're kind of, asked of it, and we're like, no, why would we do that? Throwing
Yeah.
the ball has worked for us. So, and I actually read a super interesting article the other day by Bruce Feldman of The Athletic. You can find him on Twitter, Bruce Feldman, CFB. And it talked about Josh Allen's kind of work with Jordan Palmer along with some of the other guys, but kind of what Jordan Palmer's doing to help these quarterbacks. And he basically talked that they have this crazy technology that shoots like 240 frames per second or something like that. And it kind of pinpoints all the everything from where your feet and your toes are and all the pressure points. And it really is the reason that Josh Allen was able to kind of make these strides and improvement because it kind of completely retooled how he was throwing the football. So I don't know, go check that article out if you're interested in that kind of stuff, because I found it super interesting as a kind of a football and quarterback nerd type dude. So I thought that was interesting, but anyway, so back to the numbers. If Josh Allen is throwing all these passes and for all these yards and all these touchdowns, then he's obviously got to be throwing it to someone, and that someone is his favorite target, Mr. Stephon Diggs. And his receiving total is 1,350 and a half, with the under being minus 110 and the over being minus 110. Under minus is 120, excuse me. I don't know if I said that right. And the over being minus 110. If you like all these high numbers for Allen, you got to like the Diggs number too, right?
Yeah, I love it. Actually, I think it seems low.
That is the one thing to me that I think he is the guy. Allen loves him, wants to target him. So I think I like the over on this too, right?
He's this stat or this prop is almost 200 yards below where he finished last year.
Yeah, even in the projections I have for him this year, I have him pretty close to 1,500 yards, which that sounds right to me.
They didn't add. They replaced John Brown, if you want to call Mandy Sanders that. They didn't add any other passing threats in the offense to take away the target share. So yeah, I think this is a safe bet.
Do you think that Diggs leads the NFL in targets? Because I think he has a chance to again.
I think he does. I think we've talked about Calvin Ridley being up there. I think he's a guy that we're going to see very high on that list. Hopkins, Devonta Adams, two other guys too.
Yeah, especially now with Rodgers back, Adams will be right up there again. Let's talk about. Go ahead.
Actually, Kelsey's a guy that'll be up there too.
Yep, for sure. Let's talk about Tua's numbers because I think he's just so polarizing. I think it's interesting to bring
Just
up.
under everything. He stinks.
his passing touchdown numbers is low.
Yeah, and I still like the under.
His over under for touchdowns is 24.5 at minus 115 for both the over and the under. That is low. That's like 1.5 touchdowns a game passing.
I don't know. I may be proven wrong here, but I'm just not giving him. I'm not giving him a shot. I don't know. I don't see it. I think that injury coming out of school set him back, and I don't know. I don't see it.
Can't do it with him. His passing yardage total is 4,000.5. The under being minus 120, the over being minus 110.
I think we're going to see some Jacoby Brissett by the end of the season. Let's put it that way.
Wow. Now that, I mean, if you believe that, that is, I mean, you're going to the window and smashing.
Just call me Skip Bayless over here with the takes.
You got takes today, bro. I feel like that if he gets to that situation, they're trading for Deshaun Watson. If he's that bad, they got to be trading for Watson, right? I mean, what if they get to the, you're 5, 6, 7 weeks in, and Tua is terrible, but the rest of the team is good. Like, how do you not just make a trade or make an offer to Watson?
Yeah, no, I mean, I wouldn't surprise me if they're trying now, and in that scenario you just laid out, like you have to. I just, there are reports about his confidence not being there, him not grasping the playbook as much as he should have, and maybe the off season, the extra off season will help, and having more of a normal off season, I guess, with without COVID, that could help him. But I'm not very high on him. I'm not a firm believer in his abilities.
I think that's fair. And then I guess the last prop that I wanted to bring up that I found on there that I thought was pretty hysterical, which I guess kind of has to do with the AFC East, was will Tom Brady break the all-time passing yards record against the New England Patriots in 2021-22 regular season? No. Minus 200, yes. Plus 150. I honestly might just bet the yes at plus money just for fun because I think.
What is this asking?
Awesome. Will Tom Brady break the all-time passing yards record against the Patriots when they play?
Yeah, I don't know what that means. Like yards in a game?
Yeah, yards in a game. Will he break that record against the Patriots this year?
Well, do we know what that is?
I don't have any idea. I mean, didn't Roethlisberger throw for like 500 yards just the other last year, a couple years ago?
He did it in the playoff game against. I know it's not a regular season game, but against the Browns, I'm pretty sure he threw for that many yards. I don't know what the record is.
Yeah. Norm Van Brocklin, 554 yards.
I think they'll want to go for it. I don't think it'll happen. I would bet no on that. But
yards. That is so many yards. I want to bet it just because I want to root for it because that sounds like an awesome time.
I'd put $10 on it maybe, but
right, just for fun, give you a little bit more interest in that game. Even though I think it's going to be a fun game to begin with, but that would be fun.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk AFC West, the good division. We'll start with conference winners, just like we did with the East. The Kansas City Chiefs are the favorite in the AFC with plus 250. The Chargers and Broncos are plus 1,600, just like the Dolphins and the Patriots were. And then you got the Raiders rounding out the bottom at plus 4,000. I think that if you truly believe that the Chiefs are the best team in the NFL, which I think they are, that plus 250 mark isn't a bad bet.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs win that division.
I mean, it's just, they've been to 3 straight AFC championship games. They've been to 2 straight Super Bowls. Since basically Mahomes has taken over as a starter, they've been one of the best teams in the NFL, if not the best team in the NFL every single year. I think that they just got a completely new offensive line. I don't see any reason for them not to repeat as AFC champions.
Yeah, and I said division. I meant conference, and I think they'll win the division too. But I think they'll finish in the 1 spot in the AFC. it's hard. There's no real reason to bet against them. I think plus 250 is a decent number for that too.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. The division winners, Kansas City minus 250, Chargers plus 400, Broncos plus 550, Raiders plus 2,500. The minus 250 is just too much for me to even look at for Kansas City, and I don't think that either of the other teams are even worth making a bet on or really even talking about. Because I mean, maybe the Chargers, but they do have a new head coach. It's Justin Herbert's second year. Everybody's gonna have film on him. I mean, things change in your second year. Things are gonna get tougher. So, I mean, maybe the Chargers, but it's not even worth me to think about at plus 400. Same for you.
Yeah, I think if I'm picking a second team there, the Chargers at plus 400, I think you're just lighting money on fire if you do that.
Same. Let's talk about win totals because I think that there are some interesting numbers with this. The Chiefs are the highest in the NFL for win totals at or at 12.5, with the over being plus 105, the under being minus 125. Where are you seeing yourself on this?
It's got to be over. They can go 13-4 and you can win that bet. Yeah. I think that's the direction I'd lean. I know it's a lofty number, but I think if they don't win 13 games in the regular season, it's because Mahomes got hurt. Yeah. And you're never making a bet with that thought process, right? That somebody's going to get hurt. You're just not thinking that way. So I would go over on that one.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on the over. They won 14 games last year. The beginning of their schedule is tough, but I think that's when players are most rested. Andy Reid's got an entire offseason to plan for these games. They play the Browns the first week. I don't even know what that line is right now, but whatever it is, hammer the Chiefs because they're going to annihilate the Browns in the first week of the season. You can mark that down right now. They're going to win.
All right, so I'm going to pull up the line now. What do you think it is?
I would say it's probably.
And I don't know it. So I'm going to guess too.
I'm going to guess Chiefs 6-point favorites.
I'm going to say, where is it? Do you know?
I think it's in Kansas City, I want to say, but
it's got to be
on that.
6. I was going to say 7.5, but that sounds too high. I want to say 7.5 anyway.
I like it.
It's 6.
Is it? It's in Kansas City, right?
Yep.
So in Kansas City, and you're giving me a touchdown.
52.5 over under.
Smash them both. Smash them both, baby. Because I'm telling you, the Chiefs, dude, the Browns have run their mouth and Browns fans have run their mouth all offseason about how that playoff game was close, and they forget the fact that they were on pace to get routed until Mahomes got hurt. Like they were getting killed until Mahomes got hurt. So
I might be making that bet soon. Minus 105.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I think it's a good number. I would definitely do that. The next in line is the Chargers. So the Chargers win total is 9.5. The over is plus 115. The under is minus 135. Give me the over here. I'm gonna. This is the Chargers. The Chargers win the offseason hype train every single year, and it's Chargers season. But they are a good football team, and I think they make the playoffs. And I've said it before, just earlier. I think you got to win 10 games to get in the playoffs. So I'm going to take the over there.
Yeah, I like them being at least a 10-win team. I love the over on that too. Good, solid plus money too.
Yeah, right, exactly. And they do get Derwin James back if he can stay healthy. They get a healthy Joey Bosa back. They drafted Rashawn Slater, who I think was probably the second best offensive lineman in the draft. So they did some good things in the offseason. They get some players that were coming off injury back. So yeah, definitely give me the over on that one. Next, we have the Broncos. 8.5 wins is the total there. Over is plus 115. Under is minus 135. And what are you thinking with the Broncos?
This one's tough. This is 8.5 is 500, right?
Mm-hmm. does this almost feel kind of like the Dolphins situation or the Patriots situation? Like it would just help you to know like who is the quarterback because they're going into the season right now, and it's Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater. I guess Lock is getting the nod right now as far as first team reps, but like to me, this is a team that has some pretty good pieces around it. And okay, so apparently my Norton McAfee thing ran out, and I'm just getting a ton of notifications for it. That's what all those pop up noises.
Just a bunch of viruses.
Yeah. No, but so like to me, like they have enough pieces in place where if you put Teddy Bridgewater under center, like he seems like he's like an Alex Smith type mold where he can win you or not be bad enough to lose you games at least, where he could get you to a 9-10 win season.
Yeah, I think I can see 9 wins. They short up the defensive back situation there again. I think they're kind of trying to compete with the Chiefs offense and the Chargers offense. I think they got, was it Surtain?
Yep.
Did they take him? So I think the defense will be pretty good, pretty decent. If I were them, I'd go with Bridgewater. I think he's a game manager, but as you put it, an Alex Smith type quarterback that may not necessarily always lead that fourth quarter comeback, but he's not going to kill you too with turnovers. So I could see them being a 9-8 team somewhere around there. Just going over that total. Probably not a total I'm going to bet, but I do like the over.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. Like I said, I just wish that they, as we record this, we would know who exactly is the quarterback there.
Yeah.
And lastly, we have the Las Vegas Raiders. 7 wins is their total. Both the over and the under is -110. Man, I want to say give me the under on that one. They feel like that they feel like they could just absolutely tank on the season and just be pretty bad. I think their defense isn't very good to begin with. They lost some pieces along the offensive line. They're going to be starting a rookie at left tackle. I don't know. Give me the under.
Agreed. I don't see them being a team that's going to be very good. It'll be fun to see some fans in that new stadium this year, though. We'll give them that.
Yeah, I would like to go visit that stadium at some point, to be honest.
Absolutely.
And actually, I have an article out today that says why Aaron Rodgers to the Raiders in 2022 makes a lot of sense, and that is over on Borderfield Sports. Go check that out. Pretty interesting article. Aaron Rodgers to the Raiders in 2022. Some player props here. I brought some of the Chiefs player props up because I like them and I find them pretty interesting. Patrick Mahomes touchdown total is 39.5. The over is +110. The under is -140. His passing yard total is 5,050.5, and both the over under is -115. Do either of these totals do anything for you?
I do like the over on his season passing touchdowns. He did only have 38 last season.
Yep.
So giving him the extra game, I can see him eclipsing that. 38 just feels low for him too. I don't. You watched all of the games. I mean, do you feel like that was low for his season?
Yeah, and I feel like there was a lot of things they struggled inside the red zone a little bit, and I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that their offensive line play was so poor. Like play action was basically non-existent, which is usually pretty effective when you get inside the red zone. They had a lot of things kind of going against them there. And I would take the over on both of those numbers. My projections have him over by a considerable margin for the passing yards and over on the touchdowns. So I think it's just going to be so much more efficient with such a, their line was so bad last year. It was crazy. So with a better offensive line, their offense is going to be better, which means more points to me. And that usually comes through the air.
Not enough shovel passes last year from Mahomes. So I'd like to bank on there being more of those this year. So I like the over on the passing touchdowns. I don't feel as confident on the over for the passing yards as you do. I don't hate it, but I'm going to stay away from that one. I do think I'll end up betting the over on the passing touchdowns though.
Very good. And kind of like we did with the Bills, I mean, you get two giant, passing yardage total numbers for the quarterback. the wide receiver totals usually follow. And I think that both Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce numbers seem low to me. Tyreek Hill is 1350 and a half. The over is plus 100. The under is minus 130. Travis Kelce is 1300.5 at minus 115 for both the over and the under. The Tyreek Hill number I absolutely love, and you're getting plus money for it. And I love the Travis Kelce number again. He's 5 straight years over 1,000 yards. He's the only tight end to do that. They basically use him as a wide receiver in that offense. Give me both. Give me both. Give me both the overs on those.
Yeah, so Hill just missed on that number. He finished just under 1,300 last year with 12. I think it was 1,276. Kelce with over 1,400 yards last year. I don't feel great about picking both of them over. I think one of them definitely will. I just don't know which one it is. It's tough for me to pick.
Yeah.
Kelce can have a down year and put up 1,200 yards, right? Like that's the thing that scares me about that 1,300 yard mark for him. I could see Hill eclipsing 1,300 yards. With Sammy Watkins gone, I know he wasn't a big mouth to feed last year, but that's more targets to kind of go around. You've got Hardman, you've got Robinson there. They brought in a couple of rookie or two.
Yep.
I just think last year you finally started seeing Hill, his average, I think it was targets per game, really kind of jumped a couple of targets. And I think that's going to continue. And Kelce is just going to get fed no matter what. Yeah. So like I said, I know I'm kind of indecisive there. I would probably lean towards the over on Tyreek, and I'd stay away from the Kelce numbers. I don't know if that's maybe backwards, but I do expect a big year out of Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I like the overs, like I mentioned, on both. And then the last thing we'll talk about is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So again, kind of the same thing. I looked at the number a couple weeks ago, and his over-under was only 850 yards rushing. It is now 900.5. I wish I would have hit it back then because I think he's going over on this. He hit 850 yards rushing last year, and he missed 3 games. So, and that was with the 31st offensive line for win block rate. So their line, again, I've been harping this, their line is terrible. It was terrible. Now it's good. Give me the over on 900 yards. And I also like CEH as a top 10 fantasy back in general this year.
Yeah, I like the over there. He's one of those backs that I just don't know what to do with. I think he got off to a slow start last year. He was the consensus like 1-6 and redraft, kind of 1-5, 1-6 running back. And I don't think that ADP really paid off for you in fantasy if you took him there. But I can't imagine him having a worse season. So 900 yards is not very daunting.
No, his ADP was like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. His ADP in best ball drafts was like 20s for running backs, and now has risen to almost 14, 15 marks. So people are kind of catching on that there's going to be value there. And he's kind of the only running back. Darrell Williams will get some touches, maybe short yardage and third down like he had in the past. But I think the Chiefs are going to make a very conceited effort to get him the football, not only in the passing game, but running the ball with behind the new offensive line. The only other thing I put down here was the receiving yard totals, because we like the Diggs and Hill numbers so much. Right now, Calvin Ridley is the favorite for the year at plus 750. Justin Jefferson plus 850. He is tied with Diggs at plus 850. And then right after them is Tyreek Hill at plus 900. Do you like Hill or Diggs bet to lead the NFL in receiving yards at plus 850 for Diggs or plus 900 for Hill?
My favorite bet there is Hopkins, and I just think the plus 1,000. I just think that I don't know. I just like the value a little bit more. I can definitely see Diggs or Hill being those guys,
right?
But I think if I'm putting money down, I kind of like Hopkins there, just for a little bit more money.
I see that. I could see the value there. Does CeeDee Lamb at 25-1 do anything for you, considering Amari Cooper is on the pup list right now, and everybody's kind of expecting, a huge performance out of this Cowboys offense and Dak Prescott being back?
It's a good number. I just can't see a world where he leads the league in receiving yards.
No,
I think you're higher on him than I am
I
in
think that,
general.
yeah, probably. And I think that's fair. I think that it's also going to be tough in Dallas because there's, so many mouths to feed, I guess, if you're expecting that offense to be as good as people are thinking.
I just can't get myself. Amari Cooper's a name I just can never get myself to want to draft or to bet on. I just can't do it. Like, he's just too inconsistent for me, for my liking.
He is. He is so inconsistent. It's crazy too how young he is because it seems like he's been in the NFL for like 10 years and he's only like 26 or 27, which is wild. All right, man. Any other thing you want to mention for the AFC East or the AFC West?
No, I'm.
Is it going to be another Chiefs Bills AFC Championship game?
I hope so. I mean, I think those are the two best teams in the AFC right now, and so I'd love to have the opportunity to have a rematch, and hopefully McDermott doesn't coach like a scared coach. Like, I just still have a bad taste in my mouth.
Lots of scared coaches last year in the playoffs.
I just don't understand it, and I also think that
coaches in the playoffs last year.
They need to figure their defense out this season too. But
do you think that's the biggest question mark right now in the Bills? Who's cornerback two? Pass rush?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I do wish that they had done a little bit more on the offense to improve the offense, whether that's bringing another big receiver or a rookie receiver, but I think they can make that side of the ball work. It's the defense that still scares me. They've invested so much on that defensive line in the draft the last 4 or 5 seasons with very minimal results. And like that needs to change.
Yep. I hear you. It's kind of the same. Funny enough, it's kind of the same with the Chiefs. They've invested quite a bit in the defensive line when you think about Frank Clark and Chris Jones, and Frank Clark has not paid off of, his kind of haul that they had to give up to get him at this point. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how he bounces back this year going forward. But we're, as you like to say, James, we're another week closer.
Another week closer. We got preseason football next Thursday.
Dude, are you ready just to smash some DFS lineups with me?
I want to so bad.
It is going to be awesome. I'm excited.
Just want a taste of it.
I can't wait. All right. Well, you can find him on Twitter at Fitchy24. You can find us on Twitter at Ballin Over, and you can find me on Twitter at JDiz1617. Like I mentioned, I got a couple articles coming out this week for Borderfield Sports, so go over and check all of those out. I actually have an article out coming tomorrow, probably about Clyde Edwards-Helaire and why he is going to be a top 10 fantasy running back. So make sure you check that out as well. Like I said before, smash the like button on your way out. Make sure you're subscribed because we got a ton of content coming your way this season, and we are fired up for it. Thanks for being here, everyone. We'll talk to you next time.